Yeah, thanks for the introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, again, a heartily welcome on behalf of the German Ministry for Transport, Building and Urban Development. I appreciate very much that you, Mr. Secretary, are here with us and talk to us. And it's a great pleasure for me to be here on this conference in Hong Kong. And I would like to outline some fundamental features of federal government's building policy. I would welcome the chance for Germany and Hong Kong to work together even more closely in the future, if you like, and in some areas I will look at today. I would like to address the following topics to you. Initial situation with regard to sustainable building. Here I would like to outline the underlying conditions which impact building policy in Germany. Second is energy-saving construction requires both guidelines and support. Here I will present the instruments currently in use in Germany. Third, performing comprehensive sustainability evaluations. Here I would like to present several complex sustainability instruments. And last and fourth, sustainable building through innovative building solutions. I would like again to present an ongoing project of the German Federal Ministry, our EnEV Plus house. A brief overview of the situation in the building sectors in Germany. We have around 19.5 million buildings. Interesting, 75% were constructed before the year of 1977. Why 1977? In the year 1977, it's of importance as a year with the first introduction of our energy-saving ordinance. So this was the very first step some time ago. The proportion of the type of buildings is obviously different to Hong Kong. More than 10 million one-family houses, only less than 1% houses with more than 10 housing units. Most of the dwellings are let in Germany, around 65%. Space heating accounts 34% and hot water requirements account about 4% of the total end-use energy consumption of the Federal Republic of Germany. 65% of the heating energy goes to the private sector. The mean energy consumption in the building stock in Germany is around 220 kilowatt hours per square meters and per year. According to the current regulations, new buildings constructed since 1995 have an average energy consumption of less than 100 kilowatt hours per square meter per annum. Today, there is a consensus in the international community that climate change represents an economic and ecological danger. The European Union has itself set far-reaching strategic goals. These focus mainly on reducing carbon emissions in the EU from their 99 levels by at least 20% by 2020. Increasing renewable energy share of total energy consumption to 20% by 2020, and maybe it's the first step and the most important also, cutting energy consumption by 20% of the level forecast for 22. In 2010, the federal government of Germany adopted an energy strategy following the Fukushima disaster and a decision to shut down our nuclear power plants in Germany by at least 2022. This energy strategy has been reinforced once again. Its major benchmarks are now, as you could see here, reduce primary energy demand by around 80% by 2050, reduce heating demand by 20% by 2020, and introduce climate-neutral buildings in the new build sector starting in 2020, and draw up a refurbishment roadmap for the building stock, with which rate of refurbishment can be at least doubled. Ladies and gentlemen, energy efficiency has become a driving force behind sustainable development in Germany. In order to increase energy efficiency in building sector, the German government has three main courses of action available to it. First, it can introduce statutory legislation that sets efficiency requirements. Second, it can promote financial measures that are not supported by statutory legislation. And third, it must inform and educate citizens about this issue. First, I like to speak about requirements by legal acts. This concerns in particular Energy Saving Ordinance, Renewable Energy Heats Act, and the Heating Costs Ordinance. The concept of energy efficient building dates back more than 30 years. The lower of the two curves on the slide illustrates the level of primary energy demand that has been achieved in residential buildings by means of pilot and demonstration projects in the field of research. The top section of the graph contains details of relevant statutory legislation. The graph demonstrates a steady trend by which research and development, German building practices and legislation trends all level out at the low energy house level. The Energy Saving Ordinance stipulates maximum values for energy demand in buildings. It concerns in particular the insulation of building, heating, cooling, ventilation, and lighting. It evaluates the energy source in use with regard to its environmental impact. It applies both to new builds and buildings undergoing refurbishment. The ordinance lays down the requirements for issuing energy performance certificates and states who may issue these certificates. The existing energy saving ordinance will facilitate the complex process of evaluating the energy efficiency of building, envelopes, fixed building surfaces, and lighting. The primary requirement is a reduction of primary energy demand. It's important that there are no stipulations regarding the type of technology that should be used to achieve these goals. As Mr. Lauch says, up to combat free market. Most users or building contractors are not really construction experts, professors, civil engineers, and so on. Energy performance specification must explain in a way that is understandable. As with consumption in the case of cars, energy demand with regarding to building must be presented in clear and concrete terms. To this end, the Energy Saving Ordinance stipulates the issuing of energy performance certificates. Public buildings must display these certificates in a clearly visible location. You see here our German Parliament, quite an old building, built 1894, I think. Yet this building current energy demand is superior to new build ones. The second strategy comprises the provision of financial incentives. To this end, there are several funding programs in Germany. The KfW Bank, or Reconstruction Loan Corporation, supports energy efficient building and refurbishment using federal funds. The assistance takes the form of either low interest loans, or direct investment grants. The support programs consist of three fundamental components: ecological construction of new builds, comprehensive modernization of existing housing stock, and funding of individual measures to take existing houses stock. Third approach is to provide information and to communicate with building contractors and users. To this end, the German government founded the German Energy Agency with several major German banks in the year of 2000. This is a private company responsible for promoting energy-saving initiatives. There are now more than 500 examples of this type of home across Germany, including every kind of building category, from single-family houses to multi-family dwellings to National Register buildings. There's a large range of information available on these examples. This slide shows a reduction of primary energy before and after refurbishment of existing stock dwellings under these programs. Sustainable development means more than just energy efficiency. Sustainability means to take the entire life cycle cost of a building into view, from the initial planning concepts to the removal and recyclability of a building after its useful life has ended. It's an aim in Germany to define sustainability in an improved and more detailed manner with regard to buildings in the future. We must take it possible to perform a balanced assessment of ecological, economic, social, functional, and technical aspects. Buildings that present documentation proving they meet the relevant requirements should also be awarded with a mark of quality, such as the German Sustainable Building Quality label. When evaluating sustainability, we considered it particularly important to accord equal importance to ecological quality, economic quality, social and functional quality, and technical quality, and also with 10% accorded to the process quality. These individual aspects can be divided into various groups of criteria. These criteria are composed of further individual criteria. Each criterion has its own set of clearly definable benchmarks. Private enterprise and the state jointly developed the content of the German Sustainable Building Quality label. The German Council for Sustainable Building, DGNB, played a key role as a partner in this process. The results of the assessment can be shown as a percentage, a mark of certificate in either gold, silver, or bronze. To build sustainable houses needs a plenty of information. This has to be made available to planners and the construction industry. One more important instrument I would like to mention is WECOBIS, a web-based ecological building information system. It's operated by our ministry together with the Bavarian Chamber of Commerce. You know, Bavaria is the lucky land in the southern part of Germany where the Oktoberfest is now held in a moment. And Hong Kong is not too bad to be. This system provides information about building products with regard on health issues and our environmental parameters. Anybody who is a little bit curious now is invited to have a look at the internet at WECOBIS. Sustainable buildings is only possible through greater innovation in construction. In Germany, I would like to point there's a great enthusiasm for future technologies. The Federal Ministry of Transport, Building and Urban Affairs launched the initiative Future Building 6 years ago. This is a kind of research program we are running every year. We have elaborated 7 research clusters, for example, energy efficiency, renewable energies, plus energy housing, sustainable building, demographic change, and so on. I won't read out all of them now. Sorry. From 2006 to 2012 in this research program, approximately 53 million euros were allocated to research projects in the areas of proposal-based research alone. One interesting result from these projects are colored solar panels for suspended rear ventilated facades. This promotes the integration of renewable energy in the building envelope. It's also kind of architecture you can use with these PVs in colored and different shapes. For those people interested, you can find also my information in the internet on this certificate address. The objective of climate neutral buildings is outlined in the EU's Energy Performance Buildings Directive, asking new buildings to be nearly zero buildings after 2020. The directive defines that nearly zero or very low amount of energy required should be covered to a very significant extent by energy from renewable sources. So this comes into force for private houses from 2020, for the public houses even in 2018. Plus energy means that in my annual energy balance, I can provide more renewable energy than is needed to operate my building. This objective cannot simply be achieved by means of large renewable energy system. A range of different approaches is needed, some of which are shown on this slide. The main instrument in the moment is PV, photovoltaic, solar plants, but you see it's a very big range of instruments, and you have to decide by planning which to use in a special site. In 2007, Darmstadt University of Technology developed a plus energy house as a part of the Future of Building Research initiative in order to participate in the Solar Decathlon competition in Washington, D.C. The most important objective of the model houses, whose performance is tested in 10 disciplines, is to generate more energy than the house can consume when it's being used at full capacity. In 2007, and again with new model house in 2009, Darmstadt University of Technology won this competition. In 2010, the development was going on. A house was erected again for a further experiment in the city of Essen in Germany. Our federal minister, Dr. Ramsauer, brought an electric vehicle with him to the inauguration in Essen. You can see here a Mercedes-Daimler Smart electric vehicle. Using the surplus energy produced by this plus energy house, the vehicle is able to operate for almost 80,000 kilometers a year. With this objective in mind, our ministry organized an interdisciplinary competition for the construction of a plus energy house with electric mobility in the summer of 2010. The task was to demonstrate that a building with a plus energy standard is capable of supplying its occupants as well as several vehicles with an average annual mileage of about 30,000 kilometers in the annual balance, using only environmental energy. The Energy Plus House was opened in the end of last year. An energy simulation of the building shows that the PV panels in the roof and the outer facade produce 17 megawatt hours a year of electric power. A single family house for a family of 4 has been constructed, comprising a floor space of about 130 square meters on 2 levels. In front of the house, there will be a so-called showcase for vehicle parking and for accommodating the charging infrastructure for electric mobility. Breaking down the energy balance by floor space illustrates the final energy demand of the house in detail, as you can see here. So, of course, great part is for heating in Germany, also e-mobility, the cars, 37%. Just 2 more pictures of our Energy Plus house, which is in a moment under test, under real test by a family, parents, 2 girls, and they are testing it for 1 year. The Federal Ministry does not want its project to be the only one, of course. We have thus launched a research program to support further model project, and the first applicants were prefabricated house companies that are constructing several plus energy houses at a show house park in Cologne. The next step to be taken now is planning and building a house for several families. This is already possible with more or less the same technical equipment as shown in the already existing Energy Plus house. Here's a slide of a project near Frankfurt, which will be under construction very soon. Other example is a planning competition sponsored by our ministry for 8 family houses in New Ulm, and the construction will start in spring 2013. So, to come to an end now, our slogan, "My house is my filling station," is no longer a futuristic version. It becomes more and more real. Thank you very much for listening to me.